to represent. Here in the city of Brunswick, I have heard of the haves and the have-nots. I have seen people come, I have seen people return. Yet I have remained in the thick of it because I am the city. Can I say that I'm ordained? No. Can I say that I have been asked? Yes, because the works that I have done speak for me. I believe that we should have programs not only for our children, but for our adults as well. Because if we give to our children and send them back home to an environment that is not conducive for their growth, what are we doing? We're starting from scratch every single day. So what makes me unique? I am you. I am the city. And when I say this, I am not saying this from a demographically drenched rhetoric. I say this from the opportunities that have been afforded to me by those who have sat in the highest of seats and have sat in the lowest of streets. And so I am here to represent and serve the people of my community. Thank you so much.
If I had 100 sheep and one of them got away, I would leave the 99 and go find that one. That's right. Look from the locks and jaws of Satan, I come creating, penetrating with force from the land of the lost and coming. Like Muhammad got the devil on the run, rising like the sun, keep your eyes on the one. The lion, he's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now, or forever hold your peace.
Greetings.
You said 5.
Yes, sir. What's up, brother?
You.
All right, we are in the process of completing our mission, Brother Zack, Lyde of Brunswick. We was talking earlier, and you told me that you would call back. And so I'm not live, but I will put this video up so people can hear. So people can hear what you have to share with the people of Brunswick, the state of Georgia, United States of America, and the world concerning the death of Ahmaud Arbery. And as we have been listening to the TV stations and radio about the convergence of mass pastors and religious institutions and civil rights organizations and talk show and radio show hosts. I was invited tomorrow to go or to Brunswick, and you know I've been to Brunswick many times, but I came to the conclusion that that is not a setting for me, because I do not believe in show and tell. Now, Mr. Zack, Lyde, tell me, before we get into the beef of this, where are you located at?
I'm located in the most polluted zip code in the state of Georgia,
Brunswick, Georgia. What is it like being in Brunswick?
It is like being in a place where the people have made so much progress with before this thing we call integration, the thing that we call integration, the mess that has failed the test.
Okay.
It was a very, very progressive community in which black folks control 40% of the economic power in Glenn County. And now, due to integration, we are the poorest city.
Zack, I need you to speak up a little louder. I'm not getting you in clear like I want you to.
Okay, I'm sorry then.
Okay.
We are the poorest city in the state of Georgia, simply because what we did was we fell into the trap of being integrationists that developed a mess that has not passed the test. We have lost everything.
Mm-hmm. Now, why or how do you feel about the this convergence of all these civil rights leaders coming into Brunswick tomorrow in the Arbery case?
I am in a stupor about it, because what happens is they have said that they are coming here because they come in here to bring peace. And it is a very difficult task for me to talk about peace as a veteran who fought in fought in the Korean conflict, and my father being a Baptist preacher who didn't believe that he could answer all of the threats to his family with the nonviolence. Prayer does not do what these people are claiming it's going to do, and that's going to fix the problems that exist in Glenn County.
Okay.
So I'm disturbed.
Okay.
I'm conflicted.
Well, what do you say about pastors and religious leaders, imams and rabbis and sheikhs and people who profess to be followers of the God of creation? They never get involved in the community in terms of political elevation of the people, but yet they will be there on tomorrow and the cameras will get their faces. What do you have to say about that caliber of black people?
I am highly offended with people who believe that they can solve a problem by playing the game of being image seekers to get their names and their faces plastered all over the world, when they could have come in years ago when we asked them to come and help us to work on the issue of preventing murder in this town, or lynching in this town. when the county police, the same folk that is in charge of tomorrow's event, along with the district, along with the Justice Department, to keep peace when we begged them to come, when the police shot and killed a young white woman with 2 babies, shot her in her head 10 times, and then bragged about their gun was the one that blew that bee's head off. If they'd have come here doing all of the work that we have been asking people to do on behalf of the poor, we never would have ever had this particular situation. Jackie Johnson was the same person that had exonerated the police who had murdered this young white girl. If they would have come when we begged them to come into Glenn County and Brunswick, bring Loretta Lynch with you so that we could get, 1, a federal investigation of all this corruption, and 2, to make sure that that same brother that everybody's mad at, named Kevin Goff, the attorney for the person who took the video, and he was working to prevent every poor person who was represented by his operation, the Public Defender's Office. Jackie Johnson could not win a case against him. When he took over the Public Defender's Office and changed it to Public Defender's Office, the same Jackie Johnson who's been indicted now was the district attorney that could not win a case against him. It was this man, and me and him ain't in no love with one another, but it was this man that the NAACP president at the time, Mr. Francis Johnson, the state president, and the local branch president, Mr. John Fields, both of them preachers, praying this thing, bringing prayer to the issue instead of bringing action to the issue, could have prevented, I believe, Ahmaud Arbery's death.
Okay, you mentioned an individual by the name of Attorney Kevin Goss. Now, Goss,
Yeah.
was he some kind of district attorney or public defender leader or what? I mean, when I watch him, I know I met with him on one occasion. When I met with him on 5 different occasions. I met with him in another city in between Brunswick and Valdosta, and I traveled with an individual for him to take a case, and he made that black man felt so bad until he wished to God I'd never even introduced Kevin Goss to him, and he said that Kevin Goss is absolutely no value to any black client. And I say it again, that Kevin Goss is no help to a black client in the legal arena. We thought that he, whatever happened to him, he thought it was unfair. He came to the black community, I think, and some people in Brunswick at least embraced him, and then he did a flip-flop from what I understand from Bobby Worth and others, and it seemed like he's showing his true colors is out there today, seemed like.
Well, trust me, this man is a member of the NAACP. This man is a criminal attorney that was the chairman of the Republican Party. This man was a member of the Tea Party here in Glenn County.
Wow.
This man, because he was wealthy, gave a lot of money to the governor of the state of Georgia for his Republican governorship in the state of Georgia, and was honored or awarded for his gift with being the person over the public pretender's offices in the Brunswick Judicial Circuit. When he took charge of the public pretender's offices in the Brunswick Judicial Circuit, he turned it from a public pretender's office to a public defender's office. And the district attorney, the one that we just got indicted, went to Brian Tyson to ask Brian Tyson to fire this man because they wanted to turn the public defender's office that he had created back to the public pretender's office. This man was not losing a case against Jackie Johnson with any of the poor clients that he had. None. He quit going to a Confederate school to get attorneys and went and got black and white attorneys from Emory to come and be on his staff. He went down to Miami and got a seasoned criminal attorney to be over operations of the former pretender's office, and it became a defender's office, and wasn't no more plea bargaining, and they wasn't keeping black men or poor men in jail for years to cause them to bow and kneel and take plea bargains. He was winning all of the cases against Jackie Johnson.
Wow. And when you refer to this man, you really are talking about Kevin Goff, right?
That's exactly who I'm talking about. The same guy who used his cleverness as a defense attorney to separate his client who had taken the videos. And without the videos, you wouldn't have had squat in terms of this particular trial. His client is the man that took the videos. His whole strategic movement with the client he got is to get this particular operation into being a hung jury or a change in what had to take place in terms of this particular trial. That's why he used the offensive term, no black pastors need to come in the board. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he did it to protect his client.
Mr. Zack, Lyde, I am going to insert at this dispensation, when I put this video together, some excerpts from his presentation during this trial. But before I'm going to insert that here. So boom, 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 boom. Now, you mentioned that with the problem that you all have had in Brunswick, that if Al Sharpton, the civil rights leaders, the pastors, big-time TV shows that could have came into Brunswick when they were needed, that it could possibly have eliminated the need for the death of Arbery, but because they failed and turned their head the other way, or whatever you want to call it, that is why we have the problem in Brunswick that we have, that civil rights leaders only take on the major cities or the big hotshot cases, but when you contact them on the rural issues in rural Georgia, that they turn their head the other way or act like you don't exist?
I can assure you, Jesse Jackson and the Rainbow Push and I and Floyd Rose, I think is his name.
Floyd Rose, and minister, a dear friend of mine. I talk to him practically every day.
We, along with Jesse Jackson's operation, Rainbow Push, came to Valdosta, Georgia, to have a meeting at Reverend Rose Church.
Serenity Church, 1619 North Lee Street.
And when we got there was a discovery about the mistreatment of black folk who worked at Valdosta State University.
Yes.
The mistreatment was that the people whom worked there as administrators and teachers was making 20% more than any other people in the Georgia Regent system. But the poor people sweeping the floors and raking the yards, they were making 20% less. So we took that on and marched around the walls of Jericho 7 times.
Yes.
There was a white woman, I don't remember her name, whose husband was an attorney, and she was the president of the local branch of the NAACP, I think, at that time.
Okay, pause right there. Her name is Lee Touchton. She did outstanding work, but she did a flip on us, and as far as I'm concerned, she have done what many white folks have done. They stand up, then they vanish. But I cannot speak ill of Lee Touchton because I travel across this nation, especially Georgia, with her, and she did an outstanding job. So I give her rightful due. So I understand what you're saying, but I want to plug that in because Lee Touchton, that's the individual you're talking about, and she lost her job for standing up for black folk who would not stand up for themselves. Now, please continue.
Well, it was because of her and Rainbow Push and Jesse Jackson's operation that we did the work that we did. I didn't know she had lost her job, but that was a brave woman that was quite different than most white folk.
Yes.
Who want to work with you.
Yes, yes.
The problem is, and it's the same thing that happened with people who are of African descent, who turned their back on the real problems of the poor, because they get in a position to where they think that they are superior to the poor, and they turn their backs on the anger that comes out of the lives of the people who being oppressed in this system. So they don't want to carry things to the place in which all folk ought to be reminded of what this system is really about, and that's the truth. If we can just have a few black folk who will placate the power brokers and pretend as if they are with all of us, then what we will do is we will say that we have found ourselves progressing off of what we call integration, the mess that has failed the test.
Yes, sir.
When you look at this white boy Kevin Goff. Kevin Goff is probably the smartest of the attorneys that's representing the client on this case.
Yes, sir.
And the reason we think he's the smartest is because what he did was he never made an opening statement until today as it relates to his client. We believe that he was trying to separate his client, the man that took the videos, the man that caused everybody to know about the case in the first place. The videos brought out enough to bring about a change in the direction of having the communities know that this lynching and murder should have never taken place. Without the video, you wouldn't have had that. So the video of the thing is the tool that made the community, the nation, and everybody aware of the incident in the first place.
Yes. Mr. Zack Lyde, let me ask you another question. With every, I am watching and following this case pretty closely, but
Yes, sir.
why? I think you have some knowledge, but why is it that Barnhill, Brooks, and others in that judicial circuit is not being mentioned because they botched the case up from the beginning? Some of them recused themselves.
Well, the thing that happened is they weren't botching the case. They were carrying out the case based on the direction that the Confederate criminal system that people add justice to it has always carried out in the state of Georgia.
Okay, I see. Okay, thanks for the clarification.
What happened is, and if we hadn't have been partners with you, we wouldn't have never ever known the connection between the indicted district attorney here in Glenn County, Miss Jackie Johnson, and George Barnhill.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
When we came to work with you and Olivia Coley
Yes.
in Douglas, Georgia, Coffee County.
Yes, sir.
That was when we became aware of the connection between Barnhill and Jackie Johnson.
Absolutely.
Both of them were crooks, and still is.
Yes, and nobody taking action on them.
Well, we took action on Jackie Johnson.
Yeah.
Now it's time for people to take action on George Barnhill.
Yes, yes.
Because George Barnhill, if the video had to come out, and we wouldn't have known the conflict of interest that we made sure that was given to the father, who got the information about the conflict of interest between Jackie Johnson and Barnhill, Barnhill would have already had a trial for those three folks that would have exonerated them, and this would never have come to the forefront. When we made the connection for them, based on our work with you and Olivia Coley, and finding out this connection, and they came out with it, it caught Mr. George Barnhill with his drawers down, because he had already determined that he was going to do what Jackie Johnson had influenced him to do, and that is to make sure that these folk who had murdered this young man, lynched this young man, that they would have a quick trial, exonerate them, and guess what? We wouldn't be talking today.
My beautiful.
Not about this trial.
Now, I appreciate the way you laid that out, but I'm going to be honest with you, Brother Zack. I've been knowing you for quite a while, but it seems as if, though, there are very few black or white people that will speak the truth in times such as these. And I have always noticed that you have always, without question, stood your ground, and I want you to know at this juncture that I appreciate that. But I cannot close this out without giving some type of proper due to Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, former president of the NAACP, I can't think of his name, Preston, I think it is, there in Coffee County, who stood his ground along with Bobby Worthy. Now, I understand that Bobby Worthy of Justice League United, along with former Judge Paul Nally, have been brought up on some charges by this same judicial system over there. And I don't know where this is going. But if you was not aware of what you know, all of this stuff could have been swept under the rug and nobody would have addressed it. But because we used the camera to record, even when they brought Olivia Coley Pearson up on bogus voter fraud charges, of course, and she was exonerated after 2 trials, you were there. And I want to thank you, along with Bobby Worthy, along with Judge Nally, along with Olivia Coley Pearson, along with the former president of the NAACP, for doing what many civil rights leaders across this nation, including the Congressional Black Caucus, who sat, said, and did nothing in the corner with Eric Holder and my first historic black president, Barack Obama, because we called him. We sent him videos with Joseph Lowry, with Tyrone Brooks, with Jesse Jackson, attorney out of Atlanta, and he did absolutely nothing, along with DuBose Porter, who was the chairman of the Democratic Party. So it's time now that these people stop just meeting in Brunswick, but meet in rural Georgia and let the truth be known about voter fraud, voter intimidation, voter suppression, and removing black from office after they are elected. Stacey Abrams is doing a great job. However, Stacey Abrams need to retract the work that the Get To Free Press has done, from Madison, Florida, to the Quitman 10+2, to Meigs, Georgia with Linda Harris, to Lumpkin, Georgia with Charles Gibson, to Douglas with Georgia with former Mayor Christopher Wright, to Mayor Ann Whipperloo in Gordon, Georgia, to Warrenton Mayor George Ivey, to Telfair County, to them elderly people that they just played a game on, and Sparta and Hancock County, and Davisboro, Georgia, coming on around to Nichols, Georgia, coming on down to Willacoochee, Georgia, coming on down to Douglas, Georgia, and coming on down to Homerville, Georgia, and I probably missed a few. But we who are not mentioned on CNN, MSNBC, Nightline, Dateline, and Your Line must be heard, because they are taking black voters for a ride, even under the banner of the Democratic Party and the Congressional Black Caucus, and it is indeed a disgrace to our beloved republic.
You and I are both veterans. We served the country that on the night I got back from Vietnam, in this place, they arrested me in uniform. And when I look back at the history of black veterans and their treatment, I actually have witnessed from studying the lynchings of tremendous number of black soldiers, veterans, returning back to this country. The night I got back here, I was arrested in uniform from Vietnam, the very night I returned. That is why we've had to rely so heavily on you, and I'm going to call you our leader, George Boston Lyde. Without you, all this so-called courage I have would mean absolutely nothing if it was not recorded based on what is needed from leadership with all of the people who call themselves preachers, call themselves leaders of any kind, representatives, people in parties. All of that trash would be exactly what is going to remain if we didn't get involved and have the backing of our beloved brother, George Boston Lyde, who has gone all over this country, and especially in rural Georgia. We actually had Stacey Abrams doing our annual presentation of an organization that we started because of what happened in 1921, where this man that is called Senator something from West Virginia, we started an organization from there, called Redneck Party International. And Stacey Abrams came to Jessup, Georgia at Cracker Williams Recreation Center to deliver our first keynote speech. It is because of you and the folk that you have mentioned that we will never give up. We will never quit. And what we will always do is be truthful. We don't seek publicity. We don't lie to folk. We don't steal from folk.
Amen.
We don't get in the pulpit and try to pretend like prayer will change things for folk if they only have faith.
Alhamdulillah.
And they got to pay for that faith with whatever monies they can come up with.
Yes, sir.
But I can assure you, you have something and I have something, and the people that we developed in this state have something called courage.
Yes, sir.
If you ain't got no courage, you ain't got no faith. And if you ain't got no faith, you ain't got no God. And the thing that has happened to us, we lost our courage along the way. You, I, and everybody we touching right now is developing the kind of courage that people have not seen in decades. We had a young woman who ran...
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Wait a minute. I'm not going to allow you to do that on this I'm not going to allow you to talk about... I'm not... Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I'm not going to allow you to talk about Helen Latson, an outstanding and educated, a proven historical freedom fighter who only got 31 votes. The people in Brunswick must have been at the well of Shalom when the well was dry. They must have been at the well of Shalom when the well was dry. Come on, brother, bring it on. Bring it on.
You said something extremely important. First of all, we had some friends of ours that walked up to us and said we knew she wasn't going to win.
Yeah, for mayor of Brunswick.
That's right. And they said that really she didn't win because her issues were not local.
Mm-hmm.
Her issue had to deal with the notion of saving lives for every human being that lives. That was climate change.
Yes, sir.
If you don't think climate change is a local issue, you go back and follow the direction of Miss Ida. When she stormed the shore in Louisiana, struck southern states and went into New York and left water in the subway to where it could not run. If you think poverty is not a major local issue, then you need to come here where Ms. Helen Lansing had the courage as a woman, black woman, to take all the criticism from the intelligent so-called folk with courage who gave all the money and let the chambers of commerce dictate who our leaders will become. We ain't doing that no more.
Mm-hmm.
And she might not have got the 31 votes. But guess what you just did? You just called her name. Guess how many folks don't know Miss Helen Laxton's name all over this universe because of this conversation that we got.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I am grateful. We allowed the other day the Associated Press to talk to us about the notion of what is happening here in Brunswick. What we want the Associated Press to know, though, in all of these rural communities, we are being mistreated like right whales being struck by ships off of the coast of Glenn County and killed, just like those right whales are being licked by ships. So has Mr. Ahmaud Arbery. We ain't gonna never forget him.
Mm-hmm.
And we ain't gonna let nobody else forget him. And you ain't gonna come in here and tell us that you can pray this mess away. Prayer ain't gonna fix this.
Amen.
Action is gonna fix this.
Amen.
And tonight our conversation is about action. We call anybody who got any courage to come and listen to the truth and expose yourself to the truth. Please, out of everything I've said tonight, quit lying to yourself about good trouble. Ain't no such thing as good trouble. They don't go together. You can't have trouble and good at the same time. You cannot have quiet conflict where you said that what you had was a change in the status of the black poor community by saying you didn't raise a finger when there was the institution of the institution of integration brought to the forefront to change the direction of everything that had happened in Brunswick, Georgia, from 9 African people who became presidents of HBCUs, from the place in which black folk in this county controlled 40% of the economic power in this county, owned hotels, motels, was in the Green Book, not only was we in the Green Book, we was in a chitlin circuit stop. The monies that were made by black folk was you couldn't count it. Now we're the poorest city in the state of Georgia based on the leadership of people who want to pretend that they are achieving things through prayer only.
Brother,
Reverend
go ahead, my beautiful brother.
Reverend Jesse Jackson came to visit us when he ran in '88. Reverend Jesse Jackson came back here after we did that move with Rose them, Reverend Rose in Valdosta. He came to visit us again. In 2004, Al Sharpton came to Brunswick to visit us. Because we have only had 3 women run for mayor of the city of Brunswick. The first in 1977 was my mother, Miss Marion Geneva Lyde, who used to be the state treasurer of the NAACP for 35 years when it was a very powerful organization. The second woman, also a black woman, came here to run for mayor in 2004 by the name of Elaine Brown. That is when Al Sharpton came to visit us here in 2004. And then Miss Latson is the final black woman that ran for mayor in this year. We have got to make sure that we change the direction of our lives by having black women like your daughter with a book. You tell her, we can't wait to have this trial over, to have her to come into Brunswick so we can have some book signing from her.
Yes, sir.
God bless you, my brother.
My beautiful brother, in closing, I want to thank you for mentioning my daughter, who is the author of I Am Black. It's throughout the world. And once you get halfway through the book, you will determine for yourself that she's from another planet. When it comes to race and the historical account of what we've been through as a people. But let me say this before we close, my brother.
Yes.
Allow me to say this. I want to commend you because you're not an ordinary man of the cloth. You use words that people don't understand because they think it should not be mentioned in spiritual circles. But if the truth, but if truth was told about the human rights and civil rights and women rights and others, leader by the name of Yeshua, erroneously called Jesus, I think you would be a reflection of the Jesus that some of us have never even been introduced to.
I have to thank you, my brother, and the last thing I want to tell you about the thanks we have for you is about black veterans. You came and filmed our approach to what we call the Marshals of the NGI Club, with the purpose of lifting all black veterans to a position of honor and influencing them to use the skills of leadership that they've learned to get involved in this fight like you have been, like you're doing right now, my brother. Thank you.
Okay, my beautiful brother, I'm gonna say good night to you. This will be up in a couple. This may be up in a couple of days, maybe up tonight, because I'm gonna stay up because I believe in what is right and I believe in what is just. Thank you, my beautiful brother Zack Lyde. Peace be unto you. May heaven smile upon you. And you see the Helen Latson, the should-be mayor, tell us, hey, Brother Rhymes from the Get To Free Press, say how to do it, and all praises due unto God.
I will tell her that, and she is now gearing up to have that book signing that we talked about. So trust me, she's going to be happy when I tell her you said greetings to her.
Okay.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, and peace be unto you. Once again, this is the Get To Free Press. I'm George Boston Rhines, and I had to do this interview because of the people that are coming to Brunswick tomorrow. I was going, but after I thought about all these cities over the years that I have traveled through to, and no MSNBC, no Nightline, no Dateline, no 48 Hours, no HLN, no nobody, no Congressional Black Caucus, no Democratic Party under Edward DuBose, no NAACP president, no SCLC president. All these people seem as if though all these black folk that is suffering, some people have died. Latasha Head died. She was a lupus patient, and she died under the pressure of the now Governor Brian P. Kemp and Nathan Deal. And I'm going to continue to say it. Not only that, but the mayor of Gordon, Georgia, husband, Mr. Lou, he died as well because of the stress they forced upon them. And there is no way in hell, not alone in heaven, that I can forget and bury my head in the sand like the legend concerning the ostrich bird. I must stand up for St. John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set and make you free. Y'all have a nice night. May God bless you. And I tell you that Zack Lyde is a pearl in Brunswick. And now he's come to you. Bye-bye. We gone.
George Boston Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Boy, you are a dangerous, fantastic, courageous, faithful man. You're a faith-driven man with courage. And if you could put some of that into these preachers that have played these games so many years, this thing will turn around in 6-7 months. It won't take us long.
Brother?
They can't come to this. They can't come to there with prayer on their knees and believe that they gonna get this thing changed. No, sir.
Brother, I don't look to the
I ain't be out there tomorrow. Now I'm gonna tell you that.
Huh?
I ain't being out there with them people tomorrow.
No, I'm not. I had planned to come, but that's not my calling. I can't go. I would be a hypocrite if I went. You see, now if they would have went to the Madison, Florida 9 when they brought them people up on voter fraud charges.
Say it again, man.
Yeah, if they would have been with the Quitman 10+2, if they would have been with Linda Harris and Meg, if they would have been with Camilla and Linda Harris, if they would have been in Lumpkin with Charles Gibson. Back, in fact, Camilla was another guy, Rufus Davis, and in Douglas, because we all know Douglas. I mean, good gracious, with Olivia Coley Pierce and Clayton County. And Gordon with Marianne Whipperloo and Warrenton with George Ive and Telfair County. Even the Sheriff Stevenson embraced me in Macon about what the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp, did to all those black people there. Davisboro. Man, I mean, I could go on. Let's just quit there. But if these people can meet, you can't,
you know who you can't forget?
Who's that?
Charles Sherrod and Shirley Sherrod.
Oh yeah.
We've got to make sure that they know from you
Yes.
that we have been inspired by those. A lot of people don't even realize that Charles Sherrod and Shirley then was involved in that Albany movement. That was a powerful movement, brother.
Yes, sir.
I love you, man. Good
All right.
night.
All right. Peace and good night, my brother.
Same here, brother.
All right. Once again. All right. All right. Once again, this is the Get To Free Press, George Boss Rhymes. I'm in Valdosta, Georgia, but I make connections across the nation because that's the flavor of my nature and the nature of my flavor. Bye bye. We go.